The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Good morning, people. You guys are on mute, guys.
Unmute.
Showing your age there, people.
Yeah, a little bit behind the number of subscribers. Yeah, we're growing. We're growing on YouTube too.
YouTube, guys, come on, everybody, get out there and subscribe to us.
Yeah.
And I'll start making more videos.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to subscribe, you got to go to @YourTeamPros to check us out. We'll be there right now, live and direct.
YouTube @YourTeamPros, and we should pop up, basically, right?
That is it.
We're starting to get things working in the background, Anthony. Like we've been on a couple conference calls and stuff, and we're actually going to start to be a pro team.
But as long as you stay away from the electronics, we should be good.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, exactly.
I agree.
Anthony.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
Because I remember this was before you joined us, Anthony. But we wanted to do new team photos, and at that time it was just you, me, and Dean was on the mortgage side, and my boy here had to go and buy the special lights, the cameras. I'm like, it was bloody cheaper for us to go get someone to take our photos. So every time he's doing something new, he has to have all equipment instead of just, maybe sometimes it's better, more economically sound if you like to say, let's just go get your photos done.
Just to play devil's advocate here for Randy. Now you might be right on a one-time off that it'll be cheaper, but as long as you use the stuff more than once, it probably ends up being cheaper the other way.
I agree with you. I'm just going to say that yes, this is a long time ago, Jack. He's going back 7 years, and so at that time I had bought, all the partially professional lights. I don't know, 1,000 watts LED thing, and bought the green screen, and I bought the TriCast computer, the $5,000 computer, and all this stuff, and the video cameras, and
whoa.
However, I want to say why.
No, let Anthony
Let Anthony dig you. Go ahead, burn.
I might have to do what I said there. You just had a $5,000 computer.
Yeah, the $5,000
pictures.
TriCaster. Yeah,
Yes.
which is no good anymore. Mike won't use it.
It was never used.
No, I did get in and I did start practicing it, but it was a lot for a realtor to figure out how to become
That's
a
why a
professional
realtor's
photographer
gotta
and
stay out of that.
videographer and all that stuff. I agree. So I'm going to say that it didn't work out to be the right thing, but sometimes it's little baby steps that lead you onto another path. So what happened is that if I did not take that step, I would never have been with Mike and Gary, right? Because in doing that step, I realized that I need some more professional people behind it. It's true. Ask them.
No. I go buy a pair of shoes and it's a waste. This man buys all that equipment that's garbage that's garbage, never really got used, but it was an investment now because that led him to Gary and Mike. See how he makes all of his
But
like,
here's the thing though, Jackie, though, the thing is though, again, sorry to kind of pile on you here a little bit, but
remember the last time you did that, you regretted it. Like that was only 2 minutes ago.
I gotta say, a pair of shoes, like you can only use it once. There's nothing else to come of it.
But he likes to look at me in the shoes.
Okay, I can give you that, but I'm just saying with the video stuff, I kind of, as I have a story too. Like for me, I'm always interested in like in anything where you can like better yourself, whatever it is. So I actually went to this conference a year ago or so with a few $1,000s. I ended up nothing when the purpose that I went for turned out to be like pretty much a waste of money. However, because I went to that, I learned some stuff which actually was able to make me like double, if not triple the money you doing other things. So I kind of agree. Are you okay?
Okay, so she just gets like that.
Over there, Jackie?
She does that every now and then, just but I want to get back to the story. So what happened is that, so I had all this equipment, but I didn't have the professional skills to be able to use it, because it's not like I started with a little tiny nothing equipment. I went straight to the big stuff, right straight to the real stuff, and that professionals use. The problem is that you're supposed to be a professional, and that's why professionals use that. And I wasn't. So I wanted to bypass all the other steps, right? So I realized that wasn't really working, but I did, in my defense, at that time, what it was there was a thing called a sizzle reel that a gentleman, I think Mike Cohen, who is like the king of YouTube. He's now out of the game. He just teaches people, but he was the king of all video marketing, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, not YouTube.
And not just YouTube, but all video marketing. And then he was allowing people to go there to create a sizzle reel, which is between 1 to 6 minutes, depending on who you are and what you want and whatever, of a video that you produce. And it was $10,000. Plus, you had to fly out there, stay for a weekend, do hotel and all this stuff. And it was a course. So I didn't want to pay that $10,000 like that. I would rather invest $10,000 in equipment. So that's why I went high end. But then I realized that, quite frankly, I didn't have the skill sets at all to do it. And that's where Gary and Mike came in. And from that day, I don't know what it was like when they met me, if they thought I was crazy or whatever, but I wanted to team up with them at that time. Hey, I'll get this, I'll get that, let's team up. And that relationship is still together today. We're still working on some of the little intricacies of it, but that's how it started. So if I didn't make that, $10,000 investment into the equipment in that, I would have never stepped up to be able to meet people at that level. I would have been still at the minor level, giving people money for doing videos or whatever.
Okay, so here's my comeback to that. You're a realtor. You're a realtor, not a videographer. You need to stick to, like, a realtor. We wear so many hats as it is. We're like your advisor. We advise you mortgages, the housing, what's going on, how to get your house ready, how to pack your boxes, even, how to just get ready for, at least we do, right? We have booklets for every stage, whether you're buying or selling, how to prepare. And like I said, even if it's tips on how to pack up your house more efficiently, we have books on everything, right? That's your forte.
And all those books I created. So it's interesting. I agree with you. So there's a lot there. But my point was.
Oh, my point was, I'm sorry, you're creating more hats. for
Yeah,
yourself.
true.
That was my point. Sorry.
And I'm gonna agree with her, and I don't know if it was like the best thing that I could have done for our team. I think probably staying simple would have been good. But in defense, maybe this was a godsend because COVID came and disturbed things, and now being online is the new TV, is the new marketing, is the new promotion. So the sooner that we become masters of it, then what happens is that now we have proven how it works, and we have a company that starts to systematize how it works, and now we can duplicate it for other people and make money. So while Jackie is looking at the short term, whatever, I'm trying to look 3, 4, 5, 6 years ahead and see, hey, is there a couple of $1 million extra that can be made from taking this journey rather than just taking this journey and it fizzles to an end? And so, I defend my path. It is a long path, and it does cause some hardships along the way, but it also, I think, allows you to meet new people that are much more qualified and better than yourself, and then therefore possibly use that to leapfrog into making our company great and have the presence that is needed, but then having the great people behind you that's able to duplicate that same process for other people, and that's where the real money is. That's
Hey, Jackie. Hey, Jackie, I was gonna tell you to mark this date down on the calendar because you said you're right, but then he went on to kind of explain why you're not. So
He always does that. There's always a big but.
Well,
Always. And I tried, look, there's a turtle out there.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm
Yes.
looking out the window because I see
Squirrel.
a turtle.
yeah,
Sorry. Anyways, he always does that. It's always like, oh, you did such a great job, but you could have did this, this, and this.
No.
And I'm like, it's like a zinger.
I don't
it's a
think
good feel
fair.
though, because he makes you feel nice. He puts you up there, and then he slowly brings it back down to where you should be.
No, what I do.
Yes, he does.
No,
Yes.
that's not what it is.
Well, other people are seeing it.
Yeah, you can take it as that, but it's not that. She is right with the time perspective that she's using, which is a now time perspective. I'm using a longer time perspective. So I want to see past today. So yes, if we were just in the now, let's do it now, let's whatever, everything's about now, or everything's about me, or everything's about whatever, it's in the moment, then fine. Yes, you shouldn't go out and do those things. But if you're looking on a different time perspective and you're seeing things at a longer point of view, there may be a different argument. And that's what I was trying to pose, is that my argument, while it is a dream, that's just the rationale behind why I do things, why I did that. But I'm
You're
curious
actually
to hear.
trying to normalize yourself.
I'm curious to hear from Gary and Mike, actually, because
Oh,
they originally met on this, and I probably seemed a little bit weird. And I'm just curious what they thought, since we're on this topic. Well, let's start with, because we met Gary first, so let's start with Gary.
No, I think, when I first met you, I think the whole premise was to have a media conglomerate, and that's what I wanted. But you're right. The future of TV is like the Jetsons cartoon, back in the 60s. It's not going to be TV. It's all internet, all satellite. And that's what we're going through now. We're going through a satellite distribution company in Dallas, Texas right now. They're sending your signal all over the world. And my server company, which is in Seattle, Washington, is taking this, processing it, and sending it to Dallas. And that's what it is. Television stations are dying trade, even though they're still there. They always will be, because they will be regulated by governments. But the point is, this is the way of the future to give out information, and you need the right equipment and the right people to operate it. So that's my take.
Yeah. And even, like for me, audio is audio. I talk, you hear. But for you, it's very, very different. There's like you're talking about servers in different parts of the world. How do we get clean sounds and stuff like that? So, that's your take. So when you met me, Gary, did you think, did you think that my vision at that time, wanting to, work together and do something a little bit bigger, let's, create whatever platform with us, and then learn to duplicate it and then spread it out to others? Did you think that was a little bit off the wall, or it made sense to you, or what happened
Well,
there?
when I first met you, I wondered what time you had to be back at the home. So no, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Yeah, no, it's always, been for me to grow and do things, and you had a vision, and that vision is still there. And you put your money where your mouth is, basically, to become successful. If you don't, then you don't become successful. So yeah, I did agree, and I still agree. Media is everything, and to grow and to do things for people and to make a great living, I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Oh, go
Just a
ahead.
bit we'll get to real estate in a second. I promise you, folks. A bit off topic as well, on top of what we're talking about now. Tonight there's two wrestling and boxing promotions by the Logan brothers, and they got there
Oh,
pretty
wow.
much just from media, right? They're basically just two kids doing YouTube, or I think it was Vine videos originally. They graduated to YouTube videos, and now they have this huge empire with basically just from media. It's ridiculous. And really, as I was reading an article today, they're just marketers who have basically figured out the code. So it's
Found out a code for them.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that is it. And before all that happened, our dream was long before that. We weren't even looking for that kind of vision. What we were looking for, we were just looking to be able to be good in our marketplace. And so we knew that you had to branch out to social media and give content and help people. And then from that, people will say, hey, this guy's helpful. Why don't you consider using him? And then they use us, and then they find out we're not about salesman's breath. We're not about commissions. We're not. And so, and then it sort of grows from there. So that was why, that was our vision. And the Logan brothers, while they have tenfolded anything that we've dreamt of, we're on that same dream path, but it's just in a different way. Like you say, they took boxing, and which is a great sport, and they mixed it in with YouTubing, and they created a new industry, right? New promotions. And guess what? They are making more money than any of the boxers before them.
Yeah,
That's
they're
the thing.
more money,
right?
because of like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the YouTuber. He's one of the original. He's got the most followers, and for like influencer and that. And they got in at rock bottom, right? Which is like a lot of things. You got to get in at rock bottom. You have to get there before there's a million people doing it.
And now is a great opportunity. And so that's basically where we were coming from. Finally, let's find out what Mike has to say. Mike, you there?
I'm here, yes. When I first met you, I thought you had some really good ideas, but I thought your technical knowledge was a little weak. And I mean, you tried. I mean, you had some good ideas. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed meeting you. I remember we were upstairs in your other office, and you had this green screen set up and a bunch of lights. And I remember they had the TriCaster, and you had an older camcorder, which was really, really old. But yeah, you had some interesting stuff. Just a little on the old side, I found, with the equipment. But otherwise, yeah, I actually enjoyed meeting you. It was really good.
And for me, what it was is I did the research, and the
Yeah.
TriCaster was the best green screen computer on earth.
Yeah.
And the Canon that I had was used for more movies than any other camera.
Yeah.
And so those were the reason for those two. While they may have been old, I'm trying to also conserve money because
Yeah.
I'm really looking to buy
You're a
the newest
realtor.
$20,000 camera from
Yeah.
Red. I'm not looking for that unless I have to join in the
Yeah,
voice club.
exactly.
Then I'll do it.
It's a tough call because you're right. The equipment is very, very expensive, and you got to look at the clients you have and what kind of work you're doing, and thinking, okay, can I use that camera for this, or is it a waste of money, right? But I find with cameras, you can rent them, but just like you were saying before, if you don't know how to use it, it's a waste, eh? So you may get that fancy red camera for $600 a day, and you can impress your clients and say, "Yeah, I got the red camera, and it's amazing," but you still got to know how to use it. Just like buying a fancy Gibson guitar, you can buy this Les Paul and think you're going to sound like the latest and greatest band, but you still got to put the time into it and learn how to use it. It takes years to figure that stuff out. And it took me years to figure out about the cameras and stuff like that. So it does take time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So you're jumping from real estate and then you're trying to go into a totally different field and think you're going to be able to do it exactly the same as you are in real estate. That's a hard thing to do. It takes time.
Yeah, I would say it's impossible.
Yeah.
All I really wanted to do was to be able to move over into this realm where we were able to give to the public our honest, unfeathered opinion.
Yeah.
Now I realize now that you have to be careful in how you deliver that, because the government now has they can produce problems for you if they don't like your message. So we do have to be careful, which creates, and to me, almost it starts to create its own propaganda style thinking, because you won't dig in certain areas because you're afraid of losing your license. Because if you lose your license and they come after you like they have with Donald Trump, right? I'm not going to say he's good or bad for America or whatever, but what I will say is that he has his message. And because he has his message, this guy is up on all kinds of charges and considered, the worst person in the world. And it's all political. And can you imagine? That's with someone who has that kind of money. I can't handle that kind of attention. But I see some really bad stuff that I think is going on, not just in our government, but in the governance, in the world governance, because like for example, quantitative easing, which should be illegal, many of the governments did it. And so that's what makes it okay. That's why all those countries are in problems, financial problems now, is because of the quantitative easing. But they're trying to pretend that it's because we spent too much money. But no, it's because they printed too much money. That's the real reason, but you're not allowed to talk about that. And so we don't hear the media talking about it, or any of the YouTubers that are on a high level. We're certainly not on a high level, but they are. They won't talk about it. They won't utter the words. All the top realtors and top mortgage agents that have the best viewership, they're not talking about it because they're afraid of losing their license. They don't have the money like Donald Trump to go and fight this and take it up to the Supreme Court or whatever. And we're not interested in doing that with our Justin Trudeau measures either, because he has certainly laid the path for other people that we've seen. They've got into hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees just defending their right to say, hey, this isn't fair. And so we're not interested in that kind of drama. Sure. So you got some emails there, Anthony?
Yeah, we got a few emails. Probably gonna get to a little bit of real estate too with one of them. First one here is from Eric. Eric says, enjoying the show. Hello, your team. Always enjoy your show from Winnipeg, Manitoba. You folks are hilarious but informative. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much, Eric. You as well.
Thank you, Eric.
Got one from Grace. Grace says, hey, your team, happy civic holiday to all of you. Hey, did you have the July draw for the contest and who won? So we did have the draw. Do you remember, do you guys know who won offhand?
That would have been at the end of our show, last show, the last show. We'd have to, we'll give you the answer to that shortly. We'll have to look it up.
So yeah, so we did have the draw, Grace, and yes, someone did win last week. Finally, from Mike. Mike says, hey, real estate, what is the market like now in the GTA? Any improvements for the buyer? Well,
okay.
Well, I guess I'll kind of get into that a little bit. We'll definitely dig deeper into that in a little bit. But I guess one of the things I was going to talk about today has to do with the market a little bit in terms of condos, right? So for condos, the actual average price of a new condo in Toronto has actually plunged for the first time in a decade, right? So prices are coming down. That doesn't necessarily mean it's better for the buyers per se in terms of price to get in, because even though the prices are coming down, to get in is still kind of hard because of mortgage and all the other stuff. But anyway, back to this with the condo. So condo prices are seeing decline for the first time in 10 years. There's actually one of the reasons. So there's actually been a decrease in both activity and the price in the condo sector. 35%. There's actually less units are being sold in the last few months compared to the same period last year. Even though prices dropped by 1.3% quarter over quarter. So I guess again, Mike, we will kind of dig more into what you're asking here, but in terms of condos and the prices there, prices have come down. One of the reasons is kind of the increase in construction for like the last 12 months as well. So in terms of, I guess I'm sure Randy will have a bit more to speak about this in terms of what Mike was saying. So I don't know if you want to jump in here, Randy, at all.
Well, was it Cynthia that?
No, that was Mike.
So I was okay, Mike. Sorry. So I was researching Cynthia's and the person who won last. Okay. So can you give me a refresher?
Okay, so Grace is the one who asked about the YouTube winner. Sorry, not the YouTube, the winner from last week. Mike was basically asking about the real estate market and what it means for the buyers. Like, is it any better for the buyers?
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought that was Cynthia. That was Mike?
Yeah, that was Mike, yes.
Okay. So Mike, sorry about that. I put it down to answer your question at a later point, but because I do have a fair amount of info on the market here. But outside of that, Mike, unfortunately for buyers, things aren't good. Anthony is 100% right that the condo market is now starting to see a decrease in pricing over last year. The problem is with that, Mike, is last year in July was the second worst month of this really horrible declining market where we had 8 rate increases. And so we're really comparing this month against one of the worst months of the year last month, and we're coming up with positive numbers, which isn't going to help buyers with prices a tiny bit higher and interest rates a lot higher. This is not good news for buyers at all. Really, this marketplace is a tough marketplace for buyers. Really, realistically speaking, will it get better? Well, Mike, we have to wait and see, because there's a lot of complexities in the marketplace. And one of the main ones, rather than getting into several of the main ones and then steal the show and talk too much, one of the main complexities in this marketplace is that the interest rates are rising faster than any decline can. And therefore, what that really means, because I guess that's techno jargon, but what that really means to you in layman's language is that the price of homes is rising faster No, not the price, sorry, the cost of carrying a home, once you include your mortgage and everything, is rising faster than the price of homes is dropping. And so you are losing because of that. So no, it's not getting better for buyers. This is how it could get better for buyers, is if the banks start to there has to, someone has to lose in order for buyers to get better. So if the banks were to say to the mortgage holders, sorry, you have to pay your full mortgage, and the mortgage holders can't because the interest rates went up too fast, and so did the cost of living went up very fast, so they can't afford that home anymore. If the banks were to say, well, you're going to have to pay us the full mortgage, they would be forced out of their homes. That would be bringing more inventory to the marketplace, and that would then help to give some relief to buyers. But right now, it doesn't look like that is the direction that the government wants things to go in. It looks like the government wants to try to help Canadians to be able to afford and keep their homes. And therefore, that's why we're hearing the news, this negative amortization. Negative amortization means that these lucky people are paid, well, I wouldn't say that they're fully lucky, but at least they get to keep their homes, but they're paying less money than, they're not paying any principal off. They're not paying even all of their interest, and therefore their mortgage price is growing. And so the reason why I used the word lucky was that they get to stay in their homes, but they're really quickly building up a negative net worth, because their net worth is declining every day that they live in that home. And it's really kind of unfortunate.
Pretty crazy when you think of it. If you're paying $2,000 to $5,000 a month for your mortgage, and you actually owe more at the end of the month. Can you? That's pretty crazy. So yeah, I guess just to add on to what you're saying, just for Mike, I guess the only positive maybe for buyers, or one of the positives, that it's not as crazy if you're trying to buy a house. Like if you want to find a house that you do like, there are still multiple offers in some places, but it's not like a few years ago where you have like 30 offers and the price goes from like 700,000 to like 1.2 million or something ridiculous like that, right? So I guess the only, depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for being able to find a house, bid on it, and have a chance to win it, then yes, it's probably improving a little bit, but in every other metric, probably not so much.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just looking at this email that came in from Rachel. And she said, hi to Jackie. She said, my latest shoe buy. I won't tell you what she said they're for, but this is them. And Rachel, if I was buying shoes like that, Buddy would buy them in every color for me.
Yeah, but you can't walk in those.
That's what I said, if I was. Because look at that. You don't even need to see more than her bloody foot. Look at how sexy those shoes are. That's why shoes are important.
Oh, sexy.
Well, I will admit, shoes do help a woman's outfit a lot. And it's kind of very true. Yeah, true. So let's get in. So you want to do your.
Okay, so for people that have been with us for a while, like a year, I had talked about this article, and it's out of BC. And I don't know if some of you remember or heard about the realtor, Mike Rose, that went in. He didn't have a client with him, so I think he was inspecting a house, just going around, maybe just trying to get, comfortable with what inventory is going on in the area. And he decided that he was going to open her fridge and drink her milk out of her carton. And then she said he also sat on the arm of her couch and broke it. So now I have the update of what happened to poor Mike. So Mike has to pay a disciplinary penalty of $20,000. and also forced to pay, and it says an enforcement expense of $2,500. So he claims, so this is his claim, that he has a medical condition, that he was very dehydrated and he had no choice but to do it. This was his answer to why he did it. I'm like, well, maybe you should be bringing a jug of water with you, Mike, the next time, because that drink of milk was very expensive.
$50,000.
No,
25,
22,500.
No, plus the disciplinary.
20 plus
Oh,
2,500.
2,500.
Yeah,
okay.
which was, I guess, what he's paying for just the claim going in. And then what they did was charge him 20 grand. And if he doesn't pay it, they will pull his license.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play it. And I don't know how long they give you to pay it, though. I don't know, but I think it's a lot.
All I know is when they say you pay it, you better.
So when he said he drank the milk, did he pour himself a glass or did
No,
he?
we drank it out of the carton. And she had
Dumbass.
cameras. She had cameras around her house, so the camera caught this. And then, like, if you watch the video, which you can go back and watch if you just Google the realtor in BC that drank the milk, it will pop up. In the video, it looks like he was then looking in cupboards for something to eat. So, you know, you got a dehydration problem, and you're like, I wouldn't even want to drink somebody else's milk. Like, it was COVID, like everything. Like, why the heck would you do that? I would first go like this under the sink and try to drink water from the tap. Like,
well, that's the truth. I think he was lying, looking for an excuse. You just leave there and go to the store and buy yourself a carton of milk. Like, come on, you're gonna drink on this.
Does this fall into like the no PR is bad PR, or what's that saying with the actors?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so. I think this is like, you got a big X on your forehead.
An X, never mind. At the end of that article and this new article, they're like, you may want to go back and check your showings and see if he showed your property.
I'm watching the video now.
While he was in there.
Yeah, he's in the fridge and he's got a huge, looks like a gallon of milk, and he's drinking it, and then he's going to the freezer and he's checking the whole fridge out completely. Yeah,
he's looking for food. Like, I don't know. But he's going to be starving for a little now after he pays that penalty.
Wow.
But he's kicking himself now and thinking, I didn't need to milk that badly.
Yeah, exactly.
That was an expensive glass of milk.
It looked like he went through the cupboards a little bit too, from what I can see in the
Yes,
video.
well, that's why it was like, she's like, it even looked like he was looking for something to eat.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and then why would you sit on the arm of somebody's sofa? Like, just that's a no-no for, like, that's just a no-no.
And he was
Even
there
in your own
alone.
house.
He was there alone.
He was there alone when I can see.
So I think he was just inspecting properties or whatever, right?
You know, this fine money, does it go to the people from the house, or does it go to the board, or you know that?
It goes to the board. No, it's all paid the same as in Toronto. If you get a RICO complaint and they fine you, it goes to RICO.
Yeah,
the money, right?
Yes. No,
right.
And they sit around the table and joke and throw cash in the air. No, I'm kidding.
I got that.
I was kidding, man.
Wasn't funny though.
We got two more emails. All right, settle down, folks. Settle down. All right, from Katie. Katie says, "Hello, staff at your team. Have you run into this?" And then it has a little article here that says, "Banks should do a better job of keeping their ATMs filled. This is the fifth one I've been to that says insufficient funds."
What? Where is she from?
Okay, read between the lines, ladies and gentlemen. Banks should do a better job of keeping their ATMs filled. This is the fifth one I've been to that says insufficient funds.
Oh,
jeez.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours out here aren't working as either, Katie.
Yeah, they're not. And then when they dish it out, you're like, why did I only get that? What's going on here? I asked for this.
Yeah.
It was like when our kids were little, sorry, Anthony, and she wanted something. And sometimes I'd be like, well, mommy don't have any money. We'd be driving down the road and she's like, yes, you do. She's like, just go to the machine and put that card in. I'm like, okay. Kind of got to put money in there, babes, to get it out. So it was funny though.
Only it worked that way.
So sorry, so fascinating. There's another turtle out there bobbing his head.
Stay focused.
I'm sorry, this beautiful
Anthony,
view.
And I will, but quick question. It's a turtle. I'm pretty turtles don't move too fast. Are these turtles like zooming by? Like, what's going on over here, Jackie?
They move probably a little faster in the water than what they do when they're on land, because it's a big turtle. But you know what because there's black spots everywhere, right? But if you look like really out there, you can see every now and then they have to bob their head up for air. So you know it's an actual turtle.
See
that's
them every
swimming.
day, and this girl's like freaking, like
I
honestly.
There was one up
You're
on the beach
you're
the
on
other
a show now. You're giving real estate information, and you're freaking out over the turtles. Like, come on, let's go.
All right, before I get to my buzz, we have one more email from Jim. Jim says, "What are the interest rates now in the GTA? This is friggin' nuts."
Yeah, so yeah, interest rates aren't doing that well. The prime, unfortunately, is 7.2. Bank of Canada variable out the window for the banks only is 5%. 1-year mortgages, you can get stuff around the 6. You know, they're saying here 6.49, but you can do better than that depending on your scenario. You have to be putting down a fair amount of money. It is a tight situation out there for lenders.
Yeah, I honestly, and this may be a bad statement. I'm not sure how some people are going to take it, but I know everybody's out struggling to get in the market, right? And you got to save so much, but I almost feel like the people getting in the market now, if they're playing with their finances properly and not going over their budgets and that, it's a better time to buy a house than the people that bought, say, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now they're having to renew. Like, it's a shell shock. So I almost feel like, even though the interest rates are high, you know what you're getting into, where 2-3 years ago when you bought a house, you didn't know this was going to happen. So many people are stretched to the limits, right? So I don't know. Disagree, agree.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Everything you said is cool.
You're not paying attention.
No, I'm trying to get the winner of the last week's show, but our show seems to cut it off and not listening to the audio. Yeah, I'll get that answer in a minute for you guys. But yes, it is a very tough marketplace. It's a marketplace where you have to be financially sound. You're going to be competing against not only other buyers, but you're going to be competing against the system, because just because you may qualify on a different day in order to get that mortgage, the banks are restricted at how many of those mortgages they're allowed to give out. So therefore, even though you may qualify for that mortgage, because the banks have already met their limit, they can't take your mortgage. So that's an interesting little twist. There's some more crap coming down the pipeline. It's becoming harder for banks to lend because of the central bank's position that they have taken on Canadians. And that central bank position is that they need to bring down inflation. And the reason they need to bring down inflation is because they did QE and spent billions of dollars, or not spent, created billions of dollars, actually deflating our money so that our money doesn't buy as much. And then that turns into us, it feels the exact same as inflation, right? Because if it takes $2 to buy the same item, then that to us feels like inflation, even though it might be deflation. That's, and I still haven't wrapped my head around why was the richest time in Canada's history a time when we weren't allowed out of our houses? I haven't figured that one out yet. I'm looking for some great economists to tell me the answers to that one. And then when they do, then I'm gonna have to grade, how they think, because they may be just in love with our government and therefore supporting everything they do. Because I've heard some really silly stuff over my time of doing this investigation. The other thing is not only why was it the richest time in history when we weren't allowed out of our houses. The next question is, why is it that we're being told inflation at its highest peak was 8%, when I've never spoken to one person who's felt less than 20 to 30% difference in
Some-
what it costs them to live.
Yeah, some items in the grocery store have honestly, they have doubled.
Well,
because-
forget the items
yeah.
in the grocery store, just the cost of living,
No,
just to go out, anything, to
no,
go
but
out and do
food, you gotta
anything.
have to
I
survive.
understand that, but there's more to life than just food. That's one problem. In anything,
Pretty
we're
important.
experiencing 20 to 30% increase. And they're saying it's 8. Now, this month, last month is 2.8. But go ahead, Anthony, you got another story you want to give us?
Another email.
Yeah. So so another story, but also for the winner from last week, I kind of found it while Randy was going on his little rant there. So it was Jim N. So Jim N won last week.
Wow,
Jim
Anthony, that was fast. Randy's been trying to get it for half an hour
Well,
now.
because I'm trying to listen to your stories and then you guys ask me questions.
Okay.
But Anthony's just better at that.
We're on different frequencies here, right? Like,
I would agree.
This is levels. I'm at a different level. Right? So you gotta
I
step-
agree. But I am trying to look it up in Barbados, so the internet's not quite as good. But I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to say that you're better at looking up the winners for Saturday's.
I don't mind that backhanded. I'll take the backhanded compliment. All right, before Randy gets into the market here, one thing I want to talk about, it kind of goes into what we were talking about before with I guess the difficulty of living, the cost of everything going up, inflation, whatever it's at. Like who cares what the number is, it feels like it's a hell of a lot because it's hard to pretty much do anything. And the article I'm gonna talk about talks about our disposable income and how much money we actually have to actually spend right now. And basically it's the income we have is not keeping up with inflation. It's obvious that prices are going up. Our income is not. Like, income actually has gone up year over year. According to the numbers I have here, the hourly wages have actually increased 4.2% in June. Annual income has gone up 6%, apparently, to $2.7 trillion. So they say. I haven't seen it myself, but apparently it's gone up. And also, our disposable income has also, it says, climbed by 2.6% for Q1 of this year. The problem, though, is, again, because inflation is so high, and also, even though our disposable income has gone up, what you don't really see is also the population has gone up, right? So the population has actually gone up faster than the income has. So there's more people in Canada with money to spend, but per person, income has actually dropped by 0.5% per person. So it depends on how you look at the numbers. Again, I know I haven't talked about this in a while, but numbers are just numbers until you put meaning behind those numbers, right? So disposable income for our country has gone up, but per person has gone down, while inflation has also gone up. So it's just crap any way you want to look at it, right? So again, adjusting for population, household disposable income showed a 0.5% decline year over year. It's I guess for the PG version, it's a crap show right now in terms of trying to basically do what you got to do. Just the normal things, as Jackie was saying earlier, with the price of food, it's pretty much getting hard out here, right? So it's just, I'm not sure what you guys feel about that, but even though they say income has gone up 6%, you show me the person who has that and how it's actually affecting them in a positive way.
Personally, I personally feel that it is possible that incomes have gone up because a lot of people don't want to work, and if you want them to work, you're going to have to pay more. And that we're seeing right across the board. Any of my entrepreneur friends are just saying how difficult it is to get workers. So you do have to pay more to get.
But also, a lot of people are subsidizing their incomes with part-time weekend jobs. So there's a lot more of that in like the Uber, people are Ubering there, you know, and I mean, I don't know. That's income, isn't it? Isn't that not added up?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to follow what Anthony was saying, and it was just really confusing to me personally to understand that, you know, income in Canada has gone up, but per capita, it's gone down.
No, sorry. What I was saying was that disposable income in the country has gone up. So how much money we have as a collective has gone up, but the population has grown by so much where even though the overall money in the system is up, the people that are spending it is up as well, more than the money coming in. Right. So
to me, if the population has grown, that's going to create more money, right? Because you need
yes.
money for that population. If you had one person, you need $100. You have two people, you need $200. When you only have 150, we got a problem.
Okay, slow down.
Right?
Let me put in some numbers for you. Let's say we have 100 people. For those 100 people, the disposable income is $1,000, right? This year. Next year, we have 200 people. So 200 people. But now my disposable income is only $1,900. So my population doubled, but my disposable income did not double. So there's more money in the system, but per person, there's less money per person to spend.
Yeah. And you know, I don't know. I'm a little cynical. You know, I have to be, I have to figure out where I'm at. What, you know, am I a duck? Am I a chicken? What am I? Because I came here to Canada in 66. You know, I had very bad parents, and I ended up in foster care. And then I had very bad parents in foster care. And then, you know, and then I just rode the system. But a lot of that, I appreciate that Canada had a system that when I didn't have very good parents, that they
would
would
somebody else that wasn't good.
Okay, but fine. They tried. Like I see it differently than you because they tried to help me to have a home. And whether they kind of messed up several times, or I was a misfit, or I wasn't a very good child, or whatever it was, the point is that there was a system, and that cost money. So I'm a little bit torn between having the infrastructure from the government and the waste of spending. And like now here I am rooted, and I have a family, and I have a job, and all this stuff. But meanwhile, I'm like a hater of, oh, well, you're giving free dental to new illegal immigrants that come over. You're giving them free room and board. You're giving them cell phones. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. Like, you know, and so I'm feeling bad for not like really approving it and being on that side, because it took so much to raise our children so they could have a cell phone, so they could have dental, so because the government didn't give us any of that. And so I'm sort of I'm in the middle of being trying to figure out really where I'm at with it. And that's why viewers say, oh, Randy, well, you're like, you know, you got no backbone. Well, yeah, kind of true. I don't at this point. So we'll see how the future brings.
Okay. Two quick emails before I let you finish off, Randy. One email was talking about the contest from Olivia. So she says, hello, who was last month's contest winner? So that was Jim N. Do you post the winners anywhere monthly so that we can check it out if you missed the radio show when you do the draw? Right now we do not, Olivia, but we will definitely work on that. To streamline that. As we talked about earlier in the show,
that's a good thing.
That is one of the plans. Amanda has said that right from the beginning, that she wants to get to that point where we can take a video snip and add it and do a congratulations video with the winners and stuff like that. We haven't gotten to that level yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah. And then finally from Hank, in regards to your radio show from the Tuesday one you used to do, Randy. Hank says, hey, is Randy's show on the radio anymore? Thanks. Unfortunately, Hank, it is not, because of some issues with censorship and such, and not wanting to have to go through different things. So unfortunately, the show is not on the air as of right now.
1 hour of Randy Raw, we're realizing I have to first gain a backbone. I have to feel comfortable of potentially losing everything with our families, with me being out there talking my truth. And I realized that actually, while it's fascinating, because there's so much I have to tell with regards to children aid and who I am and what I believe in real estate, there's a lot that I would love to tell, but I'm just not there yet. But I will be working closely with Gary. We do want to kind of put on another show, but I have a lot of learning to do before I do that. And Jackie has an email.
Yeah, we did get another email, but it didn't come into on air. And it's from Paul. Paul's actually a friend of ours and very smart man in the real estate world. And he says, have you left Canada to get away from just inflation? And it's one word, so Justin, inflation. And what's happening with the real estate market in Barbados?
Yeah, so the real estate market in Barbados, Paul, is very constant. It's a very small island. It takes about 1 hour to go from one end of the island to the other. So there's not a lot of pressures, economic pressures on the island at this point. What we are seeing is overall there's some price increases. We're here trying to help to put together an investment that we started quite some time ago with some investors, and we really want to kind of get it finalized. So we're here trying to work through that. The numbers are better than when they were when we first started. I would say about 30% better, roughly speaking.
But it moves slow.
But it's a slow
It's
process.
like an island. They're on their own time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
Red tape.
Yeah.
Holy
So
smokes.
we're here trying
Yeah.
to create a client experience or to allow the real estate transaction to go a little bit smoother. So we're here to try to do that. We'll see how successful we are on this visit, but that's what's happening there. Thanks for your email.
3 minutes,
11:57. I have 3 minutes to do a quick little update, but what I will say is I'm actually absolutely admiring the fact that Anthony and Jackie are really coming into themselves and taking over the show, and I love it.
High five,
that's
Anthony.
wonderful. Okay, so sales up 7.8% in July. And so that is a very positive thing to see. However, if you really look at July of last year, it was the second worst. The worst month was December. So if July was like basically your worst month of the year, because December, Canadians are basically, doing Christmas. They're not out buying homes. We're in a foot of snow. And so for July to be the second worst time, that's we're really competing right now against next to nothing. Inflation was 2.8%. That includes all of the hikes that the Bank of Canada did, which means that if the Bank of Canada didn't do those hikes, right now inflation would fall at 2%. But because the Bank of Canada has done all of these rate hikes, the inflation is at 2.8%. Unemployment is up 6.1%. Employment is up 3.1%. GDP growth is up 3.1%. When you look at the number of people that we've brought into Canada, those numbers for employment and growth, GDP growth become flat, actually even negative because of the number of people we're bringing in. I don't know if you guys remember, but Justin Trudeau just did an announcement claiming that the federal government doesn't have anything to do with the housing. He constantly is I just think he's just not qualified to be where he is.
But he did say that.
But he did say
do
that they
feel
want to help.
ability to help.
Yeah.
But he's saying, we don't really need to help, it's your bad,
Well,
all the provinces.
I'm
you
not
deal
sure
with
if
it.
he said that, but what I would say is that the Bank of Canada is federal. And while they're separate arms, the Bank of Canada is one of the biggest problems in this. You give free interest and then prices go high, and then now you try to punish people with these high prices and a higher interest.
Well, he's
It's
trying to
just
get
not cool.
away from the fault, right? It's
Right.
not my fault.
Average price up 4.2%. New listing up 11%. So new listings are climbing faster than sales, which means that inventory eventually is going to climb up. Sales to new listing ratio is 51.5%, which means that we're in the balanced market range, but heading towards the seller's market. This, guys, all looks like a seller's market, but with a lot of slowdowns that have to do with government policies and not the real estate market. Active listings are only up 0.3%, and days on market is down 17.2%, which means things are selling faster. Months of inventory 2.1%. So we're starting to head towards that balanced market possibly, and it will continue to do so if the market continues in its same direction. We will see what happens. We are out of time. Thank you very much for tuning in, and Anthony, close us out.
Sorry about the turtles, guys, but he did swim out to sea.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about Jackie. She'll be okay.
Yeah.
But as always, you have any emails during the week, send it to info@yourteam.pro. Oh Lord. Check us out on YouTube at Your Team Pros. And as always, have a great weekend. It's been your home, your money, and our lives on realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.